is going to be about converting a Bill Hornby, Thomas the Train type of loco from DC to DCC. Now, yes, so I purchased this nice loco from eBay. It's mostly in good condition if you kind of look at it. It has all the buffers. Paint is more or less in a good condition. What it misses is on the rear there is no hook on the coupling, but that's okay. We can put that, we can fix that. So what I wanted to do this video is basically because Ben, the twins, and I forgot who else. They're a bit particular, so it's a kind of a particular type of chassis, and I had mistakenly thought in the beginning that you could, let's say, take only the body of a Bill, which you can actually find on eBay quite often, and just kind of swap in a chassis underneath it from some of the other locos. Turns out much harder than I thought, and I guess I'll show you the particularities of this one. So yeah, let's see how do we start disassembling it. So you can see there are a couple of bolts. Probably this one holds the back of the chassis, and somewhere around here. Well, anyway, let's crack on. So it looks like the chassis is caught with this hook of sorts. So probably, oh, there you go. This came out quite easily. Yeah. Is this it? This is it. Wow, this was easy. All right then. So let's see what we have. It does look somewhat different kind of chassis, doesn't it? The front wheels are really close to the front of the loco. The back much longer. You'll probably find either if I get to publish that or somebody else probably has a conversion of a Percy loco. Which is this one. You'll see the chassis are quite different. So the Percy loco chassis is actually going quite further in front of the front wheels, and the rear, I guess you could argue it's not that much different, but you have this bolt on the Bill and Ben, whereas you don't have it on Percy, you just have these kind of clips. So although on the surface it looks like they would more or less, you could, let's say, buy yourself like a cheap Percy loco from eBay to get the chassis to replace this one. In actual fact, they're quite different. Maybe a crafty user could actually get around to do it. Anyway, let's put Percy back in the box. So what do we have here? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a somewhat straightforward conversion. So we have the pickups. Where do we have the pickups? Probably these ones. So you can see the wires coming around this way from underneath. They probably come from the wheels directly. So the pickups are probably on the wheels. So we have one of the pickups here. The other one on the other side. So these are rail connections. Obviously these are our motor connections with a capacitor. So now the idea would be taking off these contacts. So in order to disconnect the rail from the motor, taking the capacitors off, and then see how we go. So the next thing I would do, just to make sure, let's say the number one mistake people do, by people I mean everybody, I did it for sure, is they forget to check in depth if there's continuity between the rails and the motor. So that's what I'm going to do now. Here's my multimeter. It is set on the contact check. There's a squeal. If there's contact, there's no contact. So now put one terminal on the wheels on one side and one on the motor. Terminals on the case. No, there doesn't seem to be any contact. Do it with the other wheel. There doesn't seem to be any contact. Now, this is a bit of a funny one. Between the motor terminals, it is what it would look like a short circuit. It's actually not. It's a DC motor. It's normal. Now, let's check the other side. No contact, no contact, no contact. So we're good. That said, you could have guessed this. This is a plastic chassis, and there are actually wires that come here. There are other chassis, other locos, which, let's say the positive or the negative is through the metal chassis itself coming to the motor, and the other end is actually coming through a wire. Now, in that situation, obviously, you need to do a whole lot more hoop jumping than in this case. Let's see. So now we have basically the loco is ready to go for the conversion. What I tend to use. So we have the 6 pins clearly colored. There's no question really, there's very hard to go wrong. Now, the question is, how do we connect these pins to these terminals? The best way I found is to wire the pins on some GST connected wires. I'll show you how. And then basically take these wires and solder them wherever they need to be soldered. What I tend to use to isolate those pins is a bit of heat shrink, basically. Just 2mm, 3-to-1. Doesn't need to be anything special. I mean, just whatever you can find off of your local electronics store or from eBay or something. It basically come like this. Chop a piece. Slide it down the wire, and as you get close, you just kind of put it there. And what I tend to do, because I don't have a heat gun yet, is I come with a soldering iron, and just kind of shrink it down. There we go. One wire, one down, 4 to go. It's ready to go. There we are. Success. So now we have a controller on which I cut no wires and I solder nothing. So here we are. The controller is being wired. If you look on the wiring diagram, let's put it in focus here. So we see there's some color coding, which I kind of not respected. So I have red and black and red. I did continue with black and red, On the other hand, I have gray and yellow, which normally they should go on the lights or something, but for me they're going to go to the motor, because basically this is what came out of the GST connector that I found. So it doesn't really matter as long as you know which one is which. So for me, yellow wire is motor right, white wire is motor left, and yeah, red and black are going to the rails. So let's crack on with soldering on the loco. Now please remember, this is not a soldering tutorial, so I'm just gonna kind of quickly show you how I did it, how I do it. Don't know if it's the best way or whatever, but yeah, let's have a crack. So first, dip in the flux. Put some solder on the wires so they catch on faster on the loco. So did we say red and black, or rail left and right? Which one is which? Black is left. Let's go on. Let's put it on. Red is on. And these two will go on the motor. Orange, which is yellow in my case, is going to go on the right hand side of the motor. Hope it's visible what I'm doing here. And there we are. Few minutes it only takes. 1, 2, 3, 4 side. Now you might be wondering why I didn't put some heat shrink on top of these. I used to, but if for whatever reason you need to undo the solder, then heat shrink is kind of a pick to cut off. So I'm just gonna use good old tape. Which is this. So here we are. Electrically it should be good. It should be good. A bit of a sanity check again. Are we still have separation between the wheels and the rails? Yeah, between the motor and the rails. Yes, we do. Seems to be just fine. So now let's start rebuilding the loco. I tend to also kind of tape the wires into place. Controller can dangle around. In the case of this loco, it will basically kind of go under here, between this kind of a stand of sorts and the bolt that holds the chassis. Let's see if it fits. And of course it does not. So what will we do? Take the wires and package them just behind here. This should work. So here we are. Let's try again. So there it is, Mr. Bill. Now let's put the piston assembly back together. So now the pistons are held in place. One of the difficulties with this loco is basically you need to fully reassemble it in order to test anything on it. Bit of a bummer. But here we are. Yeah. Let's put the loco on the tracks. So here is the first test of Bill in DCC mode. With the Pice Frog you can control it on your phone. Have written the name Bill as we've seen previously. So now let's get this going. So forward. Oh yeah, and reverse. Seems to be working fine. Oh, and a bit choppy. So that's about it. Now, what I have noticed is that Little Bill has these pickups, so the copper thin strips that touch the rear wheels could be a little bit worn. You just about see them, which makes for a bit of a choppier movement after it comes off some turns, but it's just not a huge deal. So there it is, Bill converted to DCC. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Thanks.